Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm reading today for Scorpio energy, particularly Scorpio Sun, Mars or Venus placements. Um you're being a little bit secretive again, I want to say, which is very typical of your energy. I do have some idea of what the cards are trying to tell me. I've got kind of like an overview, and I'm not quite sure kind of towards the end how to interpret this. So again, you feel kind of either secretive or you're not that you're hiding something. It feels a little bit like you're just keeping yourself to yourself, right? You don't know, everybody doesn't need to know your business. But I feel like you could be dealing with somebody actually who's very chaotic, very kind of attention seeking. It's like, you know, their business is very public knowledge, and you're a little bit more reserved than that. I also want to say you could be dealing with somebody who has this energy, this kind of slightly, it's kind of like, you know, the kind of people who, you know, they don't have to say anything, just like, you know, an expression can cross the face and it's like, you know exactly how they feel, like they don't even need words. It has that kind of energy. So it does seem to be you and another. You're getting strong Libra. So I don't know if you've got Libra placements in your chart, or perhaps your Libra Scorpio cusp. This happens quite a lot in my readings because everybody has different birthdays, right? Some people are quite leaning towards Libra. You could also have something going on with Venus in your chart, but it kind of feels like you and a Libra, is the way that I would explain it. But again, it doesn't have to be Libra. You could also be dealing with a Cancerian, which could be where this kind of like emotional storm energy is coming from. Love Cancers, embracing my Cancerian North Node, but they do sometimes have that chaotic drama queen energy, right? Because they're very expressive with their emotions, and you know, sometimes that can kind of be quite uncomfortable for signs that are perhaps a little bit more reserved. You are getting a lot of water sign energy coming through. I was closing my eyes and I was seeing the moon card. So I was actually seeing the kind of like lobster scorpion creature on this specific card. So this is from the Steampunk Tarot. This is my own personal version. I don't even think it's the real version, but it's the version I use personally because it's handy. But I did actually purchase the official kind of version too, because I want the artist to get the recognition and the money and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to get knockoff versions. So again, that anything that comes up in a reading could be part of the reading. So maybe you have this kind of feeling. You do, right? Okay, sorry. Okay, I was getting something that I was channeling this morning and it's coming into your reading now. So this morning I was just making my morning cup of coffee, and you know when your mind starts to wander, and I was thinking about, I've watched this documentary recently about the Pussycat Dolls, who you would think would be mega successful, right? You think they'd be earning a lot of money, but they were actually contracted employees, and they were earning a salary, so it didn't matter how many events they did, how many shows sold out, how many tickets they sold, how many albums they sold, had a flat rate, I believe. I mean, according to these documentaries that I've been watching, and they weren't paid, like they were paid a flat salary, like a flat rate, and so royalties didn't matter. So even if that's not necessarily true, I believe it is, because the documentaries I was watching were quite well informed. They were like looking at, like they had like literal legal paperwork from trials and things like this, so like court documents, like I just want to acknowledge the room for speculation as well in kind of like, you know, those kind of things. But yeah, so what was coming through was this idea of people being paid for their effort kind of thing, or people being paid for contribution, something like this. And it was making me think of, just again, my mind was totally wandering, and I was thinking about how there's a lot of kind of like small artists now, especially musicians and singers, who, you know, they work from their bedroom at home. Maybe they make TikToks or they share the videos on YouTube, you know, very small creators who perhaps aren't affiliated with any big labels, and it's like they're grinding, right? So it's like, say they get a radio interview but it's in a different town, it's like they have to pay for their own travel. So it's like people who are paying out of pocket because they love what they do, this kind of thing. And so what was weird to me was I was just rinsing my cup in the sink and I heard red salmon. And as I heard red salmon, I was shown the Spotify search bar. So I was like, I knew my guides were telling me, search for red salmon, right? And I did. And like, I was surprised that it was a real artist. Now, they're called Red Salmon Poet or something like that. I'm not particularly recommending them. It's kind of, I feel like, you know, you either, it's one of those kind of like, you either love what they do or it's not your thing. But just again, I think they were giving me the example as confirmation of what I was kind of channeling. So I went and looked at this Red Salmon Poet, and they were a verified artist. They had the tick, right? And they had the whole about them page and everything like that. So, you know, what you would expect if you clicked on someone who's very famous, like Lana Del Rey or Taylor Swift or Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, they have the whole, they're an official artist, they've got the whole about them thing. And it said monthly listeners, 7. And I was like, I was so shocked that, you know, somebody who's like a verified artist with like all the official stuff going on has 7 monthly listeners. And so that got me thinking about like how, you know, people who are kind of like doing, you know, the idea of like working independently, and it's like, well, how do you get a platform? How do you get people to click on your videos, or how do you get people to engage with your content if you don't have, you know, I'm hearing weapon, which is interesting, especially because you've got blade in the middle there. If you don't have the backing, was what I was going for, the backing of like a big titan of industry behind you. It's like, you know, if you've got that record contract, all of a sudden, you know, you'd be working with a record label that has connections. They have, you know, they know the industry. They can get you on a radio show like that, you know. So it's like, yes, you still have to hustle, but you've got that kind of like heavyweight titan of industry. It's making me think of Taurus's reading again, this idea of like a bull pushing forward. Or was it Leo? Could have been Leo that had this feeling of like something grinding forward, right? Like a bulldozer. And it just feels like it's behind me. It feels like I'm being pushed. In your reading today, it feels like I'm being pushed forward by a big like industry heavyweight kind of thing. It's like, it's strange. So, but anyway, this concept of, you know, creators who are hidden, creators who, don't have the advertising money, or, you know, then, you know, they don't have the connections, but they're just doing their own thing. It makes me think of that Lana Del Rey song as well. He was playing real good for free. So I'm going to actually make a note of that and put it in the description box down below with all your other songs. Playing real good for free, Lana. So it's not called that. I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but it'll be a Lana Del Rey song down in the description box. But she's talking about kind of like, you know, she'll play a show if she gets paid enough money, because she's, you know, she's got that kind of she's got that power, she's got that influence now. But she was saying she was listening to this like busker on a street corner, and he was playing real good for free, you know. It makes me cry, that song. So again, it's like unrecognized talent. Maybe you feel like you have some kind of unrecognized talent. Anyway, so there's something going on with this moon card where there's like you and this other at a distance, I want to say, because it's funny because it kind of came out, again, this is the card I was visualizing, and then when I pulled your cards out, you had kind of, it's coming out differently, but these two cards came out together, and it kind of had a very similar meaning, because they're both from the moon deck, so you've got all this moon energy. Maybe check out what your moon sign is. Maybe you've got like Libra moon, Cancer moon, something like that. But like, you know, it just surprised me that you had this card, right, the moon with the cat and the dog at a distance kind of thing, and then like this moon energy with like the dog and the rabbit. It's almost like you and another at a distance kind of howling at the same moon. But again, the moon being secrets and fears and things like that, it's hard to unravel what's actually happening in your reading. Let me just go through your notes. So I've been getting a lot of bull references, and I thought you could actually be talking about Birmingham. Birmingham, which is a city in England, is not Birmingham if you're American, Birmingham, like with an right? That's how we say it, Birmingham. Like Birmingham, which is their symbol, right, their kind of like animal to represent their city is a bull, and they have a big building called the Bull Ring, which is like I think it's like a big shopping centre. I actually worked there once. I was like setting up one of the stores, like in overnight, setting up a store, rolling under the I don't know, anything that comes through could be a reference. So like, you know, like rolling under the shutters, because they put the shutters down so people don't walk in, but you need to have it open enough so that the staff can go out for the lunch and things. It's like rolling under the shutters, like Indiana Jones. Any of this could be relevant. So I know I waffle, but it's how I channel. So the first thing that I actually got for you was a very, very nice feeling, actually. I don't know if you know the milk and honey card in one of the decks, but I had this feeling of like being very calm, kind of in a very, very good place, actually. So I don't know if you feel like you're in quite a good place. But it was like I had this bowl of what was something like icing, or it was like creamy and sweet, and it was being, I was like folding, I was like stirring it and folding it, you know, when you get like, say like if you're making like egg meringue, right, you're whipping egg or something, or you're making icing and you get it to like the perfect consistency. It had that feeling. So it was this feeling of like, it was very satisfying. So I don't know if you're watching like, you know, those most satisfying videos on like social media. So it was very, very satisfying. And I just had this really nice, this really nice kind of homely, like comforting, like love feeling with it. So I don't know, maybe if you are a bit stressed and you enjoy cooking, maybe you need to just go and do your hobby. Maybe that's what it is. It's like, do more of the thing that makes you feel good, and whatever that hobby is. So maybe you like to play guitar, do more of that. Like maybe you like to paint, do more of that. Maybe you like to cook, do more of that. It's like, do more of your hobby, because it's almost like doing that, it's maybe it brings like nice feelings of nostalgia for you, you know, it's like pleasant for you to do that. So it could be a good way for you to get grounded, just kind of doing more of what you love. It's like maybe you don't need a reason to make a cake, you know, you can just make a cake because it feels good to make a cake, something like that. You got this song, oh, my notes on that are sexy, yummy, satisfying. Yummy is coming up big time for you. I feel like I watched another reader and they kept on saying yummy. Oh, it was Bommy Spirit. I love Bommy Spirit. It was her Libra reading, and she kept on picking up on this like Scorpio Pluto energy, which is, again, it's like you're reading. And she kept on saying the word yummy, and I was like, I know, that's me, a Libra. When I'm tapping into Scorpio energy, I'm getting the word yummy, right? So you're really yummy at the moment, guys. You got the song I'm Free by Florence and the Machine. Sometimes sometimes I feel like I should be medicated or slightly sedated. So again, maybe you're having a bit of trouble here, but she says when she's dancing she feels free. So again, it's just more of that, do what you love, do what makes you feel good. Setting expectations, concert and phone. So again, you've got this musician theme coming through. I don't know if you're going watching a performance or something, but you basically, this was a story about Florence and the Machine. So there's topics coming up about audience engagement and reception theory, you know, the audience experience being part of the experience. So they were giving me the example of like, say you're watching a big concert, like your favorite performer, a massive like sellout arena concert, but you were the only person in the crowd, like nobody else showed up, it was just you, and like you don't dance, you know, you don't sing along, you just stand there and watch this full-on like $1 million performance. It was like, it's weird, right? It's like, it's almost like sitting at home and watching it on your TV and just receiving, right? Having it beamed directly into your brain. So it was like, they were showing me the difference, because I went to a concert recently and there was a lot of audience engagement, right? Everybody was singing along, everybody was kind of like moving along with the beat, like, whoa, you know, like the audience was moving in waves. It was mad at the mad moments. It was like being part of that with all those other people, that sea of people was part of that concert experience for me, and it felt right. So Florence and the Machine, she was saying something about, I was watching a video by The Take about like people going to concerts and it just be a sea of phones like this, like nobody's dancing, nobody's singing, everybody's just recording the concert for social media. Like I did record a little bit of the concert I watched for social media, but it was like, what, 5 minutes out of a 2-hour concert. Like I just recorded my favorite bits, kind of thing. And so that's what Florence and the Machine said. She kind of said, you know, like 5 minutes of recording, and then I want you to put your phones away and I want you to enjoy yourselves. I want you to, you know, I want you to get involved. I want you to feel this experience, you know, in the present moment. So the person who was kind of like reporting this said, I did get my phone out once or twice to kind of like record my favorite bits, which is what I did. But she said it was a very different experience because everybody was actively engaged, right? Everybody was in the moment. So again, I don't know if there's something about setting audience expectations. Like, say for example, it came up with the Palace Theatre in Manchester. Recently there was a big fight broke out because some people were singing along, some people weren't. I think I might have talked about this in another reading. And it's like, well, if the theatre has set the expectations at the beginning, like this is not a sing-along, please don't sing over the performers, then people perhaps wouldn't have done that. They would have known what their expectation was. So yeah, something about audience participation or like reception theory could be coming up for you. Break the Chain by Fleetwood Mac, which I channeled for you. If You Don't Love Me Now. If You Don't Love Me Now. In Common by Alicia Keys. We've got way too much in common, if I'm being honest with you. And yeah, I just made a note about playing real good for free. So I got like the energy again. I don't know if somebody's on the cusp, but what was on the underline of my own deck was Pluto and the Diamond. And it feels like either like the way I'd read these two cards together would be like somebody's really doing their shadow work, right? Because Pluto to me does talk about your shadow, your anima kind of thing, anima, animus, and kind of doing that deep dive and getting to know your shadow, you know, working with it rather than it ruling you in dark ways and all that kind of good stuff. And then when you kind of like do that shadow work, this is Carl Jung philosophy, by the way, if you want to look it up and understand what I'm talking about better. Like when you really kind of like do those deep dark dives and kind of like come back out, you come out with that diamond energy, which the diamond is like the fully realized soul, right? The soul that's had the full experience. You know, it's multifaceted. You can shine a light through it and see all the colors. So it's very, very, the diamond for me is very high vibrational. But the diamond does come through a lot in Libra's readings, and Pluto obviously is your ruling planet. So it feels like you and the diamond, right? You and this other, which could be Libra. It doesn't have to be Libra. Again, everybody has different placements. So it's just how the energy's interacting. It doesn't have to necessarily be individual people. But you have this feeling, so you're reading stars, you've got a lot of 3 energy. So I really want to point this out first. You've got 3 here on this Beginnings East card. You've got like 3, I'm just bring it closer so you can see. So this is number 3. You've got the 3 of fire and the 3 of earth. So it's really emphasizing this 3 energy. So I feel like it's 3 people. Now at first I thought, is it, because it looks to me like 3 people kind of like meeting up to watch a concert or to watch, it actually looks like some sort of parade to me. You know, like sometimes you go to watch the parade and the floats go past, like at Disney, or, you know, like at certain times of the year, you know, your local town might have a parade. So it has this feeling of like, because I'll just show you these 3 cards. So it's like these 3 cards are the people kind of like, it's like they're all stepping forward, they're all arriving and kind of like, you know, taking positions in the crowd, in the audience to watch this parade is the way it's coming through. And then this is almost looking to me like and now, like this is the announcer, right? It's like he's pointing towards the stage where the performers are going to come out. It's like, and now, proud to present. It's coming through actually as Cell Block Tango. If you know the movie Chicago, he's like, and now, like live from the jailhouse, you know, that kind of energy. So it's like, and here, and like, and then the parade starts, right? It's like the performer, either the performer steps out or, you know, the parade starts to go past, whatever it is. It's like, this is like what you've come to see. This is the performer on the stage, is the way it's coming through. So again, you might not be watching necessarily a live performance, but there could be something going on where it's like, if this is like workplace, it's like everybody line up, we're having this presentation, right? And it's like the boss steps out, or, you know, the guest speaker steps out. It feels like that kind of energy. So first I thought it was like 3 of you, like 3 people coming to watch this show, which it could be. But I want to say the 3rd person is the performer. And this is actually you and this other, right? You and, because again, like, look, it's like you and this other, like on different sides of the room, right? As the, like, I don't know if this is like a road and this is the float. It's like you and this other kind of like watching this float go by. Do you see what I mean? It's like you... It's something to do with like, and again, look underneath that as well, which I didn't know until this moment. Like, look, it's like this watching from a distance energy. Do you see what I mean with this? Like you're watching, like, it could be kind of like, say, you know, this is something going on in the street down below, and it's like you're in this tower block and this person's in this tower block, and it's like you can see each other across the distance, but you're both watching this show go past. You see what I mean? Because it's like at a distance. So, and it's like with the conflict as well, it's like it kicks off or something. So I keep getting this, like, Taurus had this thing about, like, it's like they were the performer, they were the greatest showman, right? And they were putting on the show, and it's like they were above the fray. They had this card above the fray, which was like looking down at, you know, like a fight breaking out or something. So you have this anyway, but I think this is like you and one other, you and a specific other. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm going to go to the Queen of Air first, because this is the energy, this is the card that I'm resonating with, because I'm Libra, right? So flip it and reverse it. So in this scenario, Scorpio, I want to say you're taking the character of the owl, right? You're taking the other person. So from my perspective as the Queen of Air, as a Libra, and again, it doesn't have to be Libra, it's just the way that they're explaining this to me. It's like I'm stood there watching the show, and it's almost like it's like you're coming up kind of behind me. It's like you stood next to my left shoulder. And so the way I would read this, because Scorpio energy to me symbolizes my mum, who is a Scorpio, so her as a spirit guide. So it's kind of like if I was watching something, it's like I might feel my mum's presence come up beside me, right? Is the way I'm reading it. And again, owls can mean Libra, but they can also mean Scorpio, because it's like the High Priestess card. It's kind of Athena, High Priestess, which is kind of Libra, Scorpio. So the other way that I read it is I do have a very Plutonic guide, and I do call it my anima, my animus, right? It's like my shadow, this kind of like it's just my Plutonic guide. I can't really explain it very well, but it always feels like it's slightly behind my left shoulder. Like that's how it comes in. It's like always behind me and slightly to the left is how I feel their energy. So you energetically, Scorpio, I want to say, you're coming in perhaps when this other person meditates, right? So again, you really do have the feeling of being at a distance for them. But I want to say it's almost like, I mean, it could be literal, right? It could be like you're literally stepping up beside this person and tapping them on the shoulder, or like, you know, it's like your arms just pressing up against theirs, and it's like they know that you're there. But I don't feel like it's like you're not exchanging words or anything. It's not like you don't seem to be having a conversation, and it doesn't seem to be a surprise. It almost seems like very comfortable, that, you know, it feels very natural and very comfortable that you would be there for this person, I want to say. So it's not like you're running up behind them and shouting surprise. It's like you're taking your place at their side. It's almost as though, again, like maybe you're a performer, right? And you're a performer and you've done this play so many times, and, you know, this person's doing their speech and you walk up behind them and you stand to their left. It's like they're expecting you to be stood to their left, right? It's that kind of energy. It's like it's not a surprise, it's expected, it's comfortable, it's familiar, and it's you taking your place. So again, it's like the owl's coming in, right? And can you see how there's this like black mark here? It's like this is where the owl's going to land, on this person's shoulder, on their left shoulder. And then if you look at this card as well, this card of like this person stood still viewing, it's like this like, I don't know, it's something about the left shoulder, right? Because they've got this thing on the left shoulder. So the Three of Earth being a collaboration, so you're collaborating with this other person somehow. I want to say it could be an energetic collaboration. So again, physically you could be at a distance from this person. Energetically, you could be astrally projecting. You could be, I don't know, it could even be something like, you know, this person's going to some sort of concert, but they're holding their phone up, like they're left-handed, they hold the phone up so that you can see what they're seeing. But it's like you're slightly to the left of them, something like that. It's like you're there, but you're not there, right? Energetically, you're there, but physically, maybe not. So again, for me, it's like my mum as a spirit guide, or this Plutonic energy that I sense. So again, it's like you take your place to watch this performance. And it's, again, it's like, and now, like, here they are, and they come out, right? But it's like, as they come out, you're very still. You're very, very still, especially with the journey. And the journey, again, can be a spiritual journey, which is, again, why I'm saying it could be like astral projection, right? It's like, maybe you do have the ability to kind of almost, maybe even through dreams, it's like you see through the eyes of birds or something like that. I don't know. I'll obviously take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Some people are more heavily into kind of like spirituality, astral projection, you know, that kind of thing. Other people are a lot more grounded. So everything's not going to be for everyone. It's a general reading, just to kind of take what resonates, leave anything that doesn't. And it could always be some kind of TV show you're watching. I did Virgo's reading. Virgo's reading went up yesterday for me. I'm recording this on Friday. Virgo's reading went up on Thursday, but I'd recorded it in advance. And during the Virgo reading, my eldest was in the room, and a lot of the stuff we were channeling, and I was thinking, what's going on for Virgo? And then we just started watching this TV show called The Power. And as soon as like the opening scene, the first girl kind of thing, I was like, oh my God, this is what we were channeling. Like, this is what, so I do sometimes channel TV shows. So you need to be aware of that, right? Me being honest as a reader. But anyway, so this float comes in, right? The performer comes on stage, the float comes in, and the storm kicks off, right? So it's almost like, again, either this person's over emotional. It's making me think of like, oh my goodness, that could be a big confirmation here. So it's making me think of, you know, Britney Spears during was it called a conservatorship? You know, they were saying she can't have personal autonomy because she's too crazy, and yet she was still performing like sell-out massive concerts in like Vegas. And there's videos of her kind of like breaking down on stage and kind of being like, I'm actually really sick. I'm actually really hot. I'm really sick, and things like this. So it's almost like, or like in the Pussycat Dolls, there's footage of one of the, because obviously, like we all know, Nicole Scherzinger was kind of like the face of the Pussycat Dolls, but there was another girl who was brought into the group as a singer, but she never got to sing, and she got quite upset one day in stage and kind of, I mean, this is how the story goes. I don't know. I'm not her. I can't speak for her, right? But the story goes that she got fed up with always being taking a back seat when she was brought on to be a singer and she's expected to be a backup dancer. So she got quite upset and kind of like had a few moments where she kind of like said her piece on stage quite emotionally. So it does have that kind of feeling like someone like they're the star performer, or they're you know, all eyes are on them kind of thing, and then they have this big emotional storm. It's like they're very upset. They you know, they're visibly very emotionally not in a good place, something like that. So it's almost like there's this, it's kind of chaotic. It's almost like seeing something that's quite chaotic. But I want to say that you're not involved personally in the storm, right? It's like you're not the one experiencing the storm. I want to say you're witnessing the storm. Again, I feel like Libra had the witness energy coming through, because if you look kind of at the image, the point of view is actually at some considerable distance from the actual storm itself. So again, it's like you're in the position of the viewer of the storm, and it feels like, again, something about how it's so linear. It's like this is, you know, it's like the ship going past, right? It's the party ship going past and you're just viewing it. This is also really kind of being confirmed by the Blade card, because yes, it's the Blade, so the Blade can talk about a truth, or they need to be quite maybe make a quick, clear decision. You know, it's almost like Ace of Swords, like cut and dry kind of thing. So you have to make a fast decision, I want to say. But it does look to me like a cat's eye. So it's almost like you're viewing this, you're witnessing this happen. Something again about the moons, if you just look here, it's like something about the time. It's like things lining up, or, you know, it's like something to do with like the timing, because I'm really getting the feeling of, with these three cards, well, with your cards, I'm getting a sense of stillness, right? It's like you can't really move once you've taken your place. Say this is like at the side of the road as a parade's going past. It's like you can't really change position. Once you get kind of like a good position at that railing where you're going to get a good view, you don't really want to move from that. So it's almost like you're very, very fixed in position, and it's like the performer itself, or, you know, this thing going past that seems to be you know, because this is where it comes from. It's like it comes from, you know, out of your field of vision, and then it's kind of like it comes through, and so it's got this kind of like going past energy. But it's almost like something to do with like, because you're in position, right, and this is moving past, so it's like it lines up. It's like right in your like, it's like it's right in your direct eye line kind of thing. And so maybe it's just a case of like you're waiting to see a specific performer, you're waiting to see a specific float go past, something like that. So as soon as you've seen what you came to see, you go, because you then have this these two cards, like retreat and walking away, right? So retreat, like get out of there kind of thing, and walking away, it's like walk, you know, say this is the fence, the barricade, it's like you're going away from the barricade, right? You're not going through and joining this, you're going away kind of thing. So or maybe it's like the show's over, there's nothing more to see with the darkness, it's like nothing left to see here. Maybe it's a case of like midway through the performance, the lead actor has an emotional breakdown, the curtain comes down, and it's like, show's over, we can't continue, so you have to go. It has that kind of feeling. And so you have this feeling of like packing up and leaving, right? It's like getting your stuff together, going. But I want to say as well, it's something about the performer, right? It's like the performer, it's almost like shows, oh, maybe it's like seeing the performer, you see the performer leave or something like that, but it's like there's something about the burden for this person, because it's almost as though, say this is like the big performance, right? They're the magician on the stage, this is a whole act, you know, they've got like, you know, this big performance object that they use, and it's like at the end of the show, like it's like they've wrapped up all the stuff, they've got all their like all the objects that they used in the show all the objects that they used in the show, but it's like they're the one carrying it out. And you know, you're kind of like, again, maybe this is like catching them coming out the back door or something, and you're just surprised because you thought, do you know what, I thought, it makes me think of NDA by Billie Eilish. You know, you think I'd show up in a limousine, I had to save my money for security. So it's like you think because this person's on stage, you know, they've got all the glitz and all the glamour, and you know, they've got all the makeup on and all that kind of stuff, like they've given a really good show, it's like they look like $1 million. You know, the venue's sold out, so presumably they're getting loads of money from ticket sales, and yet, you know, they're the one carrying their own equipment. It's like, well, where are the roadies, so it's this moment of kind of, it's like seeing someone in a very different light, right? It's like you thought they had everything. You thought they were like Britney Spears on the stage. And then it's like, oh my God, this person actually is really struggling. They have actually, you know, a lot of burdens to carry. It's like they're doing it all on their own. You know, they don't have a team with them. They're doing it all on their own. You know, I was saying, like, it's like somebody has to pay for their own ticket. You know, they have to pay for their own travel. They don't have a big titan of industry behind them. So it's and then the resilience, it's like respect for the resilience, and also like a sadness, I want to say, you know, seeing this person kind of like having to lug all their own equipment around, something like that. It's like they go, you know, right, they go back, they come out all smoke and mirrors and dazzle and razzle dazzle, and then maybe you are going to see Chicago because razzle dazzle's a song, right? And it's like, you know, and then it's like, right, show's over, packing up my stuff, like, right, I've got to go. Kind of thing. And it's almost seeing them as human rather than this untouchable deity, right? This untouchable like megastar, like suddenly they become a real person with real problems, and it's the relatableness, the humanity of that or something. Because it's like you're walking away and you glance back and you witness this. So I don't know, maybe you work in a venue or something, you know, you see the performers afterwards and you're like, wow, okay. And then the darkness as well, it's like, I want to say, it doesn't feel like it's your storm, right? It feels like it's this person's long dark night of the soul. It's like you're witnessing another person's breakdown, you're witnessing another person's, but I want to say, when I say this, like long dark night of the soul and breakdown, it's what comes before the blossoming, right? It's like you have to sometimes, because I had a long dark night of the soul when I had my spiritual awakening, right? And it was like, whoa, my life has completely changed afterwards, like nothing's the same. So it's almost like you're witnessing someone having this moment of something that they have to suffer through, right? Something that they have to, something within themselves that has to break down so that they can face it. But they're very burdened, and it's like they have this feeling of doing it on their own. Anyway, moving on from that, because I don't know if you can necessarily help them. I don't know if you're just witnessing it. Because again, you have this feeling of being at a distance, right? It's like just all these like if you look at these two cards together again, like it's like the storm's blown over, right? It's like the storm's passed through. And can you see this little rabbit? I'm saying this is you. It's like you know, you at a distance from it. It's like, you know, everyone's left, you know, there's nothing. There's just this, there's something about the moon itself, like this orb shape, right? Because like the retreat's this orb shape, this blade. So it's like you've watched them retreat, you've watched the end of the show. I don't know, something like that. But it's like it's passed through, right? The storm's cleared. But you have this kind of feeling of like, again, like seeing something at a like, just look at the imagery, right? It's like seeing something at a distance, witnessing something from a distance. And then this hunger energy. And again, like you've got this kind of wolf or dog, depending on the imagery of the card, howling at the moon. So I want to say it's like the performers left, right? Which I was reading this originally as you, but I don't think this is you, right? It's like the show's passed through, the show's moved on to another town, something like that. But still you and this other, you're at a distance from each other, right? It's like I say, it's like this. Like there's a void space between you. And perhaps this is why you need to be personally resilient. But I'm seeing you as being closer to, maybe it's like you go back home, right? I don't know what the moon's representing. It seems to be, because this person's at a distance, like you're right near, you see the size difference? It's like you're really close to this thing. And I want to say it's almost like this thing that's being carried here, like the retreat card as well, right? It's like you're very close to your own home, perhaps, something like that. But this person's at a considerable distance. They're not where you are in some sort of way. So it's like you're howling for them, you're longing for them, you want them to come closer, right? You're sending them a message. It could just be texting a friend after, you know, after an event, you go your separate ways, you text a friend. Has that kind of feeling, but it's at a distance. But now I'm seeing it, because I didn't understand the end of the reading. I really didn't understand the end of the reading, but now I'm seeing it. So you can see that the moon is really gold, right? So this chariot card here is really gold. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but the chariot is the moon. But behind the moon, can you see this electricity here? I didn't see this at first. I don't know if you can see these like blue electricity lights, because you have lightning, right? So it's like this, right? It's like, maybe it's an electric car, because the chariot can be a car, right? Lightning, electricity, electric car. Again, it's making me think of The Power. If you've watched The Power, I don't want to kind of say too much, but you know, the idea of electricity and cars. It's almost like it's something like, it's like a jump start for your car or something like that. Or, you know, like if you've got an electric car, it's like it's getting charged, something like that. But hunger, I'm just trying to figure this out now, because again, like the end of the reading is really kind of, I want to say oblique. I'm thinking of like opaque. I don't know if I'm using it correctly, but I'm getting oblique. So it could be something about, because isn't that like a muscle, your obliques? I don't know. Take that if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. But like there's a man in this. So at first you just see kind of like the lightning, right? But if you look closely, there is a figure here. Can you see? So now it's kind of making me think of, if you've seen that The Invisible Man film with Elizabeth Moss, because it's like, it's something like you're on one side of a car, right? So it's like you're next to your car, maybe shouting for this person, like, come on get in the car, it's time to go, right? Because this is the car, right? It's like there's one person in the car. I know it's a chariot, right, with horses, but it's like your chariot, right? You know how people are like, get in my chariot, and it's their car. So it's like you're on one side of the car, maybe like looking out, like where's my person? Like you're looking back where you came from, back where you're expecting them to come from, but it's like they're actually just on the other side of the car, kind of thing. It's like they're already getting in the passenger seat. They're like, come on, like what are you waiting for? And you're like, oh, where did you come from? They're like, I don't know, I just came out of that alley there. It's like, so it's like you get in the car together. And I want to say there is something about this togetherness, whether you're literally physically together or you're energetically together. There's something about this togetherness, because these two cards together at the end of your reading, the Two of Pentacles, and I want to say it is something about your ability as the High Priestess, this Two of Pentacles here, and perhaps having Libra in your chart or being Libra course, because Two of Pentacles is about balancing. You have this feeling of like, can you see how the dolphins are going between the clouds and the water? So this is talking to me about either logic and emotions. Hold on. Sorry, bottle collection, it was a bit noisy. So yeah, this is talking about, it's funny as well because can you see how the gold is at a distance? You know, it's like it's further away or something like that. I don't know. So there's you and this other, and again, there's other people around, but they seem to be doing something else. It's like you and this best friend, you and this family member, you and this other, and it's like very playful. I want to say this is a very healthy, this is a very aligned relationship, whatever this is for you. It's a very balanced relationship. It could be that you balance each other out in some sort of way, you know, you complement each other. Maybe you are quite different, but you complement, like yin yang energy. But again, you've got this way too much in common, if I'm being honest with you. I'm noticing as well that this is slightly gold and this is slightly silver, but it's like, it's saying to me something about your ability as the High Priestess to be part of the 3D, right? Part of the physical, but also part of the spiritual. It's like half and half. So spending half your time in the waking world and half the time perhaps in your dream space, in your imagination, in your astral space, with the water representing that realm. So there's something to do with that as well. It's like taking turns. It's almost like maybe being on different sides of the world, even, where it's like when you're awake, this other person's sleeping, and when this person's sleeping, you're awake. Wait, hang on, does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, time zones are different, something like that. But then it's very, very much in balance and in alignment, because the Chariot card literally means kind of like, you see how there's a white horse and a black horse? This represents that kind of yin yang energy. It tries to pull in different directions sometimes, but it's very much, you have to bring it into alignment, and then you can move very, very rapidly forward. And the Chariot is an energy of success. So it's like you can have success when you get these two energies in alignment. And again, it could be two energies within yourself if you look at your different placements, or you and this other, you and this friend. But you need to be, and there is a longing for each other, I think, with the Moon card. It's like there is kind of a compatibility or a soulmate energy, or a sense of this person completes me, or this person, you know, I feel very comfortable with this person. Like I feel very much like, it's like I always have an intuitive sense of where they are. I always have an intuitive sense of their support, even if they don't have to like literally tell me they support me and love me. I feel that they support me and love me, and vice versa. So it's just this very, and with it being the moon as well, it's almost secretive. It's almost intuitive, secretive, hidden. But again, you've got this feeling of like, again, with like the gold, something about the gold, it feels like that's going past you in some sort of way. So the Chariot might not be you, the Chariot, because I did say that there was this water energy, right? This stormy water kind of, it's kind of like the drama queen or the silver screen siren, kind of like, you know, if you think of like old Hollywood, you know, the over emotional woman kind of thing. It's Cancer carries that energy as part of their whole energy. So I'm not saying every single Cancerian is like that. I'm saying it's an aspect of Cancerian energy, this kind of silver screen siren. So again, you kind of end with that, right? This Cancerian energy. Which is funny because you've got this idea of like dipping into emotions. And you're also a water sign, right? So you would understand this energy. You would understand these feelings. You would understand these emotions. But you want to say, because the Cancerian energy is Queen of Cups and you're King of Cups, it's almost like you're either more mature or you're more comfortable with this, where the Queen is more, I mean, it is more hidden. Like the King of Cups, which is Scorpio, is more very, very, very deep, intuitive, hidden emotions, right? Very supportive, very subtle. The Queen of Cups can be, again, very nurturing, very loving, very expressive, but slightly more it's almost like the moon, right? It's like I mean, like if you think about, I think about the moon energy as being very much like the female menstrual cycle. And again, I don't want to kind of gender stereotype. Everybody experiences things differently. You know, there's a difference between sex and gender and all that kind of stuff. But if you think about how the moon affects the tides, for example, right? So tide goes in, tide goes out. Or if you think about the menstrual cycle, people say that, you know, it's very similar to the moon cycle because it's like normally about 28 days. You know, it's, you have like the full moon emotional moments and then the kind of quiet moments and all this kind of stuff. I don't know, you can get into that or you can reject that. I don't know how you personally feel about it. But again, it could be something to do with this person having very stormy cycles and then calmer cycles. With this Cancerian energy, it's something I'm trying to embrace. I've got Cancerian North Node, so I'm like, do you know what? Maybe the drama's fun. Maybe the drama keeps life interesting. You know, that's why people watch dramas on TV, because it's like engaging. So there is a positive to this. It's just, again, because it's my North Node, I'm like, oh, back away, walk away from the drama. like what is natural to me. So I don't know. I don't really know. What I do want to do, because you've got so much moon energy in your chart. But yeah, again, it's not, you're not coming at this like, you're coming at this very empathetic, very sympathetic, very understanding, very seeing the humanity of this person, seeing their actually almost preferring to see their fallibility. You know, their human side is more relatable to you than the perfect show in some sort of way. It's like the perfect show is just a performance. It's not who they truly are. So you being King of Cups, right? You prefer the real experience, you know, the true emotional experience of that person. Something like that. So it's not like you're going, oh, she's just having women's problems. She's just getting a visit from Auntie Flo, ignore her. You're not doing that. You're going, this is this thing that this person's experiencing, and this is the truth of their journey. Something like that. And it's neither right nor wrong. It's just the truth of this experience. Can we get some guidance, please, for Scorpio? The viewer, the watcher, whoever this reading's for, can we get some advice or guidance, please? They're giving me that Alicia Keys song again. We got way too much in common, if I'm being honest with you. Oh, and like that person I mentioned, Red Salmon Poet, they're kind of like a poet rapper, a little bit like Eminem in style. Like that's their inspiration. Just if this is relevant to anybody, but they do it in a kind of like kind of beatnik, you know, like when you go and watch a poet, like that kind of like that vibe. So, and like interesting music in the background. So maybe you think it may not be a thing. I'm not sure if it's my thing or not. There was aspects of it I liked and aspects of it I didn't, but I just thought it was interesting anyway to you know, to have that as a reference for your reading. Hold your vision, fixed moon, and surrender to the divine. How curious. I almost feel like it's the same thing again. You know, like how I was saying, it's like, because I'm really getting this moon energy really, really strongly with these two characters. It's like, it's like, I feel like there's two people watching this reading, right? It's like, this is one of you, right? The full moon, the hunger. And then this is the other. So for the person who... There's been this thing in Virgo and Libra's reading where they've had this kind of darkness energy. And the way it was coming through for me, it was like radio silence. You know, like Virgo is very much like they wanted to say something. They were actually quite annoyed about something, but they were kind of like to keep the peace or to take the high ground. They were like, it's better not to say anything. Almost like, you know, if I've not got anything good to say, it's better not to say anything energy. And Libra, I don't know if there's something going on perhaps globally, and everybody's kind of reacting to it. So almost like Virgo's the one going, you know what, I don't need to get involved in this on social media. You know, like they keep typing something out and deleting it and typing it out and deleting it. Like Virgo had that feeling. Libra was almost like, this isn't entertaining to me. I'm just going to switch this off and go and do my own thing. And Libra got into this real kind of like, just by completely disconnecting, by literally not giving a flying F about anything that was happening, they were just like, that's not the energy that I want to align with. I'm out. You know, Libra was very much like, I'm going by. I'm not enjoying myself, I'm going by. And they went off and they were kind of like creating their own art and like very much in the zone and like in this visionary muse energy. Again, go and watch Bomby Spirit if you're interested in Libra's reading there. Like Libra was just like, as soon as they disconnected, as soon as they were just in their own energy, like hermit mode, they turned into this creative visionary and they were just having the best time. And so I almost feel, Scorpio, like you're also witnessing this thing, right, that's happening, and you're also at a distance from it. You've got no interest in actively engaging with it unless perhaps you see the vulnerable side of this character. You know, Virgo's annoyed by them, Libra's just out there. You're like, hang on, I can see that you're struggling. I've got empathy for you, but I don't know if you're doing anything actively or just witnessing this. So there's something here where it's like everything's gone quiet. So it's almost like, you know, when your internet goes down, you're like, oh my God, I can't contact my friends. Is everybody okay? Kind of thing. It's like there's this blackout energy, this why is nobody on social media? Where is everybody gone? Why aren't you answering your text? You know, this kind of like long dark night with resilience as well. It's like this dark period of unknown, right? Of quiet, of unknown, of not being able to contact people, where you have to be resilient through this, right? You have to just persevere through this dark night energy, because, you know, it's like the moon will come back. The moon waxes and wanes. It's like, okay, so it might be the long dark night now, but the full moon will come back, right? So fixed moon, it's like, don't be put off by this dark period. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't abandon the plan, perhaps. It's like the plan is still in action, even if nobody's talking about it right now. Again, with this secrecy energy. So let me just have a quick scan of Hold Your Vision, and we'll see what the book says. Fixed moon, there it is. There are two main possibilities with this card. The first is that you need to stand firm in whatever situation you're in. The second, very different interpretation, is that something is stuck. That could well be referring to the situation you're asking about. If that's the case, have a think about what you can do to grease the wheels so that events move forward. Are you being stubborn? If so, that's great, because if you really want things to change, there's a solution. Stop digging your heels in. Be the one to break a deadlock. With two interpretations for this card, it's up to you to decide what's going on and which meaning applies to you. This offers up a chance for some self-reflection. For some reason, they just flashed up to me Kim Kardashian. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Kim Kardashian, but she is Libra Scorpio cusp. So, and just, I don't know why they showed me her. I don't really, other than her being Libra Scorpio cusp, that's all I'm getting. Additional meanings for this card: staying power, faith, or patience are needed. Someone needs to back down. Avoid stagnation. A personal or professional relationship will be enduring. So the relationship will endure even through the unknown dark periods. Confirmation there. There you go. So then you've got this hunger and full moon energy. It's almost like surrender to the pull, right? So if you think of the moon as having a gravitational pull, and when it's at its fullest, hypothetically, metaphorically, for storytelling reasons, it's like when the moon's full, you feel that draw the strongest. It's like you really feel the pull to surrender to some sort of hunger that you have, like a werewolf on the full moon, right? But it's like it's like a desire, it's like a need, a desire, a pull, just a part of you that wants to come out, right? It's like a part of you that needs fulfillment. It's a hunger inside you, and it's almost like, let the universe do that. Like, I don't know, is the pull, is the hunger the universe, right, trying to get you to do something? It's almost like surrender to the hunger, right? If it's almost like, think of like, have you ever heard people say, I don't do diets, eat what your body needs. Like, listen to your body, trust your body, and if you have the urge to eat something, just eat it, and satisfy that craving. It's actually better than, I don't know, I'm not a nutritionalist, it's a theory, right? I have it where obviously there's things that you crave that are unhealthy because they're kind of an addiction, for example, like alcohol, right? I know that I might be craving alcohol because I'm stressed, but my body's not craving alcohol. My body is not, like, that's not something my body needs, right? So when I listen to my body, it can be sometimes like, I can have acne and I'll suddenly get a craving for mushrooms, and I'll start eating mushrooms and it'll clear up my acne because it's got selenium in it and that's good for my acne. Do you know, it's like this morning when I was getting up and I was getting ready, I was craving it's the simplest food to eat, but it's good for me because I get low iron levels. I was just wanting like a bagel with like thick, like really thick spinach on, just fresh leaf spinach. And I was like, yeah, that's what my body needs right now. I need the spinach, you know? So a spinach and kefir drink. I've got a bit of a grumbly belly again. So it's like this green leaves and it's like I knew what my body needed and I didn't deny it what it was wanting. So it's something like that, but it feels more spiritual. Spiritually, what are you craving? Surrender to the divine full moon. Just wibbling through here, trying to find the page. There you go. Oh, I love this description. The very word climax. I don't know, maybe you need to climax if that's what your body needs. Like, why would you deny it? You know, you don't need anyone else to deal with that need. The very word climax brings all sorts of ideas and images to mind, agreed. But it really is the feeling of this card, life coming to a head, a point, a conclusion, or a turning point. There may be some kind of change and possibly even some sort of emotional explosion. Didn't I say that? Tune into your emotions now and see what they're telling you. They're very likely close to the surface. So it feels like an emotional hunger, right? An emotional need that needs satisfying. And it might be that you need to cry it out, and you might need to have an emotional outburst. But it's like, if that's what the universe is telling you to do it. There's very likely close to the surface, no matter when in the moon cycle you've pulled this card. Matters will soon conclude and you'll find out whether or not your wishes are going to come true. The odds are in your favor, as this is a positive card, but you may need to work harder than usual to keep cool as events unfold. Additional meanings for this card: a wish you made may be about to come true. It's make or break time. I want to say it's followed by success though, right? There could be a sense of madness in the air. Breathe deep and stay calm. I'm going to refer you to Virgo's reading if you're dealing with a Virgo, or maybe there's Virgo in your evolved eating situation, or you've got Virgo in your chart, because their whole reading was about patience. They had the patience card twice, but the thumbnail was like this, and it had somebody with a tattoo saying patience and somebody with a tattoo saying madness. So there could be a sense of madness in the air. Breathe deep and stay calm. You may need to forgive someone to release negative energy, and it's time to let go of the past and move on. Okay, let's randomize your song live on camera, and I think that's your reading, Scorpio. I'm surprised actually it was like an hour long, because it was quite I felt like I didn't have much to say, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe you feel like you don't have much to say, and then when you start talking, it's like it all comes out. It could be one of those situations. Light bulb moment, epiphany moment for Scorpio, please. Oh, AirPods. I don't know. You've got an advert for AirPods. Hang on. If I close it and open it again, it'll skip the advert. Hacks. You've got Finale by Beach House. Finale, right? It's like, again, being on stage. It's like, encore. And they come out and do the final song. Finale by Beach House. Roller skating in the parking lot. I don't care because I like it vacant. Do you know what your heart is for? In case you did forget it. Red sunglasses and a lollipop. See her dressed in the polka dots. Came around in the alley smoke. Confetti on the floor. Confetti on the floor. Doesn't that feel like a parade? Is it over? Yeah, it's over. The best time of all. I was not looking for it. Favorite movie on the TV screen. Black sequins disappearing. Another story about a beauty queen. Wore my dress, then I ripped against it. Is it over? Yeah, it's over. The best of all time. I was not looking for it. Memory likes to talk a lot. I don't care because I'll forget it. When I put my fingers up, all the sparkles wouldn't let it. The best time of all. I was not looking for it. Do you know better? Yeah, I know better. Again, slightly slightly obscure, right? It's very scorpionic. It's very much like almost like coded message, like this means something to me. Who else understands my language? Who understands the Scorpio language? That kind of thing. It's like you're not if you were simple, if you were straightforward, if you were like the Queen of Swords, right? If you were like Libra energy and it's like, you know, here's all my cards on the table, because Libra's not looking to mess around. Libra's not looking to play games. Libra's like, you know, are you the person for me and you're not the person for me? Here, like, here's my information, kind of thing. It, like, do we match, do we not match? Like, that suits some people, you know, some people operate in that energy. You are much more like, I'm going to be mysterious. I'm going to give this coded message, and the people who are right for me will understand what that means. You know, it's like almost like cutting out or confusing the people who aren't meant to be close to you. It's like if you can solve all these riddles, then, you know, we can be friends. You've got that kind of energy to you. So curious, because it's strange, because you do seem to be very, very, very much in alignment with this energy. And again, you feel very different from each other. But it could be one of those cases where you actually complement. Again, I don't know if this is necessarily a Scorpio and a Libra. It could be somebody who's a cusper like Kim Kardashian, right? Or has these placements in their chart. But it's like something about the energy. I mean, you are next to each other. Scorpio and Libra are next to each other in the zodiac system, right? So it's almost like, and you have this shared owl energy. So it's something like, I could definitely see like Virgo or Gemini being compatible here as well, because it's this energy of like, because Pluto's the great detective. This is how Pluto's referred to sometimes, the great detective, right? The puzzle solver. I think my Pluto placement's Libra, which is curious. Or yeah, I think so. So it's like Libra energy, Queen of Air energy, is intellectual. It's very, you might not think of Libras as being intelligent, but I don't know. But it's an analytical energy. Libra's like, let me have all the information. And if there's something missing, Libra's going to be on it like a hawk. Libra's going to be like, what's going on here? Why don't I have this information? Why is this being hidden from me? You know, it's like Libra will go straight for that and be like, where's this piece of information? Like, why is that being hidden? Like, what's wrong here that you're not giving me that information? It's like very suspicious. So it could actually be quite compatible, because it's almost like two detectives, like, it's coming through like Nancy Drew or something now. It's like two detectives solving a case together, you know, and like, but coming at it from very different angles. Like, you're very intuitive, and that energy is very analytical, but it's almost like when you team up, it's like it's like no holds barred or something. It's like no stone left unturned. It's like, yes, you're coming at it from, because you're circling it. It's like you're circling it, right? This is getting really curious now. I'm like it's like peeling back the layers of an onion in your reading. I really feel like I'm in some kind of like, you know, like the Maltese Falcon, or, you know, some kind of like film noir detective story. It's like, you know, you and this other energy circling it, you know, looking at it from very different angles, but circling it. It's almost like, you know, you're getting a 360 view or something. It's like you're getting because it did feel like you were looking at this snow globe. It's like you and this other energy looking at this from different angles, but seeing two perspectives. So you're getting this full view. That's really curious. All right, I'm gonna go. You've made me all excited now. I want to come and do like a murder mystery, like puzzle with you or something. You know, have you seen those? I really, really want one, but they're quite expensive, and I'm not really big on kind of like house parties kind of thing. I don't like, my house is messy and no one wants to come around here. So it's like, but have you seen like the murder mystery games? They're like 80 quid or something, but you get like all the case files, and I don't know if that would be like right up your street, but yeah, they look really, really fun. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Not sponsored, not affiliated. I've just seen them and I was like, I actually saw Hailey Bailey, is she called? She's a swimwear model, but she's very, very funny. It's like, you know, one of these girls who are like beautiful, but like they're kind of a nerd and they're really funny. She's kind of like, it's like, stop being so fucking perfect, go away. But she did one of these with her friends. Anyway, I'm gonna go. That's it, Scorpio. Do take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.